All right, this is officially wrapped up. Let me turn down the volume here. All right. I don't even know where to start, but here's where I'll start. I was going to break into a bunch of issues. I took a bunch of notes, but I was scrolling through Twitter. And normally I'm not a big fan of looking at Twitter to determine who won and lost. But here's why it's important. The consensus, and I just tweeted this out. I'll read you the exact tweet I sent so you know where I'm coming at on this, because I'm looking at these people. This is one well-placed reporter, according to it says the consensus at this hour. This is unmitigated disaster for President Biden. The big question now: will there be serious calls for him to step aside from inside the Democratic Party? This is what I tweeted out. I said, when the consensus among Dem sources and media types is that Biden needs to be replaced, you know who won, right? It's funny, by the way, just as a side note, Axios tweeted out that apparently they have a source that Biden had a cold, like somehow, like they're already circling the wagons trying to save him. But Michael Smerconish from CNN tweeted out, does real Donald Trump lose by winning tonight? Does the debate spur a switch to a stronger Dem with a better chance of beating Trump? This is the consensus right now. There were so many points that I wanted to make on the issues, and we will make them tomorrow on the show, and I'll break this all down, and we can probably talk about a few of them tonight. But when the overall consensus isn't about one particular answer or another, it's rather that Joe Biden needs to be replaced. You know that that's how bad it was. When even having two friendly moderators on a friendly outlet couldn't save you, you know there's a problem. But source after source, this is Chris Cillizza, formerly of the Washington Post and CNN, right? And I mean, he is a fairly left-wing guy. This is what he tweeted out. Look, this debate was a total and complete disaster for Biden. He looked old. His answers trailed off repeatedly. He was hard to understand. He would stop in mid-sentence and move on. I never thought he could be this bad. Stunning, truly, right? These are the Dems saying this. The Biden campaign came in tonight looking to shake things up. They wanted to throw a Hail Mary. This is what we talked about on the show. They had all the rules. They had the moderators, the network that they wanted. They had it all, okay? And yet, this is what they got tonight. President Trump ran circles around him. And I'm just telling you right now, they are going to have a lot of discussions about what to do. They can't. I don't think they can. They cannot replace him, and he's not stepping down. It's funny, though. I just want to be clear. He's not stepping aside. If you think that's happening, they're going to ask him to. They're freaking out. They realized how bad it was tonight. And I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at here. Sorry to put the glasses on, but I want to see what you guys are saying. I got Ronnie out there saying that they're going to bring in Newsome, and Newsome's there. You don't think Newsome was a dummy? I think he saw this coming too. He's like, I'm going to walk around the spin room and make sure that everyone knows that I'm available. I see Ryan here saying this was their plan. They wanted to replace him. I don't doubt that they want to replace him. I just don't know that they can. I just think that's the issue. Lizette, I see her sitting there. Biden lost. Yeah, Biden lost big time. And like I said, I got a whole page. I was doing notes as we went along, time coding this thing about how he handled the immigration issue. Burke saying my old neighborhood guys over Portner Place in Alexandria watching. Thank you for Burke for watching. Look, I was prepared to go issue by issue and talk about immigration and all these other issues, foreign policy, and how each of them answered. But I'm telling you guys, when you look, and Twitter isn't the be all and end all. Believe me, I often deride it, and I do. But what I'm saying to you is that when the opinion leaders of the Democratic and the left movement are talking about what an utter disaster this is, that's a problem. Now, I want to remind you all of something. Because the dum-dums on the Biden campaign don't own a calendar and couldn't figure out when the Ohio ballot deadline was they had to move up when they're going to nominate him. So the convention is when it officially becomes, when you go through the roll and you become the nominee. And then there's some legal consequences of that for federal financing, for ballot access. But because the geniuses on the Biden campaign forgot to pay attention to the Ohio ballot deadlines and their convention so late, they're going to virtually nominate Biden early. So they'll have some roll call on Zoom or something and make fools of themselves like they did during the COVID roll call. If you remember that, when people were standing outside saying, we cast this, whatever. I mean, it looked ridiculous. Anyway, they're going to make it, they're moving it up, and that will lock him in. You can't just replace him anymore, as people keep saying. I get why they want to. Don't get me wrong. I would too if I were a delegate tonight. You saw it. That his campaign, I don't know what they say in the spin room tonight. I don't know what excuses they're going to have. But I'm telling you that this was not good for them. Robbie, good to see you again, by the way. Dr. David Howard, good to see you. Listen, I just, the buddy guy, I see this, Peggy, challenging Trump to a driving contest. Seriously, I thought, look, the idea that, the thing that was so funny is that of all of the issues on Biden's plate, getting into a discussion about who has a lower handicap actually was dumb. You're supposed to be president. The right answer is to say, yeah, I don't have a handicap right now that's as good as yours because I'm actually running this country. But he got into a thing about, I could outdrive you. I'll play you anytime. Dude, that was the dumbest answer that I could. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh. Pinch says she missed because she was at the ER with her dog. Well, I'll sum it up for you. Biden lost. So, yeah, I see this, Susie. You're saying the excuse is that he had a cold. That's right. I tweeted this out. Axios is like a source close to him said he had a cold. I'm sorry. First of all, you were resting for 5 days. You have all of the top medicine at your fingertips, and you suddenly, after you get your clock cleaned, come out with this "I have a cold" excuse. Seriously, that's so bad. That's so lame. Anyway, Pamela, thank you. I appreciate you being here. I love doing this analysis. And like I said, I started this whole thing. I got a page of, I was like going through. In fact, I'll just give you a sense of where I was coming from on this. But I mean, sorry, I'm looking at this, 928, Trump says he made up the 51 intelligence officers. Biden gets real mad and angry there. It doesn't look good. Trump uses the Ukraine issue to push back on the question about veterans approval, then pivots you. I mean, like I was sitting here and I'm glancing down. By the way, the over under, Biden didn't bring up the you're a convicted felon until 9:44. And then Trump, man, everybody who was wondering what kind of Trump was going to show up tonight got your answer. Trump says right there, 9:44, my retribution will be success. And then he says, by the way, your son's a convicted felon and you should be convicted for all the things that you've done, cites the prosecutor. But as much as I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to discuss that and bring it up, I'm telling you, this was not a good night. They are regretting in Team Biden calling for this early debate. And I think the folks at CNN are like, man, we tried to help you. We did everything we could. By the way, yeah, Ryan says this. I apologize. I should have asked if your dog was okay. Ryan, thank you for throwing that in there. Yeah. But I'm telling you guys, this just did not look good. You remember the Nixon Kennedy debate, and they were talking about how the imagery really killed it for Nixon. Tonight, I mean, it was a combination of a lot of things, but these screenshots of Biden looking lost and not with it, and whoever did his makeup needs to be fired. He did not look good. He did not look like a guy who rested for 5 days. Yeah, Lizette is saying Biden looks sick. 30 kids, Trump had more. Yeah, I mean, look. I think, by the way, you're right. Tad is saying there's a total meltdown at CNN. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, first, that town hall with Caitlin Collins was a disaster. And then tonight, I just don't know what more they could have done. They asked Trump all the tough questions. They tried to put him on defense on January 6th on accepting the election results. It just, at some point, That's how bad it was for Biden. I'm just trying to read there. Oh yeah, this is the dog issue. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out. He says it needs a tooth extracted. And I was like thinking about, is that Biden? No, you're talking about your dog. Sorry. It looked like if Biden was reading, did anyone notice that? Says Sandy. I don't know. Anyone, did you guys see that? I don't know that he was, I think he was searching for maybe he made some notes. I don't know. Yeah, I think, look, I said today that I didn't know that this was going to move the needle that much unless it was cataclysmic. I think we're entering cataclysmic, because this was their attempt to show that he was up for the job. And I'm telling you, when you read this stuff, these people, like when you've lost the Morning Joe crew on MSNBC, you're in trouble. And I'm telling you, I'm watching these Dem operatives, and they're all saying he needs to be replaced. What happened? Yeah, but Amy's saying, but Sean, he doesn't fire anyone. Yeah, I think Trump came in. I could not believe how restrained he was. Really good job by and I see Team Trump, because it's not that Trump didn't notice, and I don't want to, but there is a team that goes over this, and Trump doesn't necessarily do debate prep in the normal style, but he does do back and forth conversations. He understands the stage and the command of it better than anybody. And tonight, he was on his A game, guys. He came, he delivered, and Biden didn't. By the way, Burke says, great analysis. He's got his 5-0, 5:30. Take care, brother. You go get some sleep and get up. We'll be back tomorrow for the show. But thank you for staying up with us. And June, I agree with you. CNN is having a meltdown, because now people are going to blame CNN for giving him the forum, not pushing back, not fact checking it out. They're going to look for excuses in the next 24 hours to blame somebody other than Biden. So listen, I just, you're right. David, Dr. David there is saying that Trump was so calm and collected. He was. It was funny because he looked like he was just letting it roll off his shoulders, right? He was like, okay, whatever you have to say. I will say he took the bait a couple times on the generals. He took the bait on the porn star accusation. He took the bait. I wish he wouldn't have. But hey, if that's the worst, I think the best viral moment. First of all, I'm going to discuss this tomorrow on the show. Hopefully you guys can tune in. We're going to do obviously a little bit more in-depth analysis once I have time to do this. I think there were a couple viral moments. I think that one at the end on golf is definitely going to get some attention. I also think there's some stuff on the right that is going to, I'm just going through my my feed to see, because I know I tweeted out a couple of these that I thought were huge. The one at the end, the golf one, I think is going to be good. The one, oh, I know what it is. And tell me what you guys think. But I think the time when Trump said something to the effect of, I don't know what he said, and I don't think he knows what he said when he answered that question. I thought that was classic. Now, I don't know that the media, the mainstream legacy left-wing media, is going to play that, because it doesn't look good for Biden. But I think I will, and I think a lot of the right-leaning folks were. It definitely got picked up. Even C-SPAN picked it up. I retweeted it as well. I think that's going to be a big one, because that encapsulates it, right? That this idea that he didn't know what he was saying, to me is a big thing. The comment on beating Medicare, that's it. I guess I can't. That, you're absolutely right. That one, I should make a note of that. Hold on. Yeah, I think I noted that one too. But that's beating Medicare. What do you mean I beat Medicare? I don't even know what the heck. But Trump kind of came back at him. He said, yeah, the only thing he got was that he was beating Medicare. It sounded it sounded so weird. There were a couple. The thing that's interesting is I don't think that they want the media tomorrow. I'll be interested to see what like the Today Show and GMA take away from this, because they are all now going to have like a conference call to figure out how to lift this guy up. This is not good. Yeah, Barbara, this is interesting. There will be no more debates. I think they're going, it's not just a cold. I can't make the September 10th debate. Anyway, I think that this was um, the one thing that's interesting is I had really carved out this caveat that said unless something cataclysmic happens today. I think we're on the line of that. I think we are on the line of something cataclysmic happening because it wasn't one line. It wasn't one moment or response or one issue. It was an overall feeling that this guy will be 86 years old at the end of his second term. And from what I read online, and actually I'm seeing some of this in the comment section, I think there's a lot of people going, are you going to make it to the end of this term? The only one happy tonight probably is Kamala Harris. She's probably like, okay. I don't look, I want to be clear on this. I was on with Tommy Lahren today talking about this, and she's convinced. She said, "I get it, but the Dems always find a way to do something that's not part of the rules, right?" And I like talking about the process and the rules. And she was reminding me. She said, "Well, think about it. During COVID, when it came to voting, they didn't really care about the rules, did they? They just did things." And I think she's got a point there. They might find a way and say, "Screw the rules. We're just putting this guy out there." The problem is that the Biden political machine controls the DNC. You have to understand that. So the DNC can't do something if the DNC is de facto Team Biden, which they are. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm looking at some of the comments. Did someone on CNN actually say that Trump did a good job? Because that would be huge. I'm watching. I think Barbara saying asking June if that's actually what happened. I'll be interested. June, you're saying that CNN said how good of Trump did. No kidding. Tell me, can you, if you, do you know who it was and what exactly they said? I'll keep an eye on this and then I'll read it out for everyone. But guys, I'm telling you, we may wake up in the next couple of days and really see an effort. Now, again, I can't emphasize this enough. They control the apparatus. So when will they? This is, to me, if something was going to happen, this has got to be coming from Jill Biden. She has to say, I saw it myself. I'm concerned. And we're going to do this. The problem is, guys, they don't want to hand this off to Gavin Newsom. And Kamala Harris is not going to just sit by and allow it to happen. Okay? She has stood by his side. She wants to be the nominee. I'm sorry, Angela. I know, I don't know if you're meaning Michelle Obama when you say Obama, but that's not going to happen. I just don't see it. I mean, Michelle Obama, by the way, story this morning, Michelle Obama, the day of the debate, about how Michelle Obama is pissed because she was buddies with Hunter Biden's wife, Kathleen Beauty, and apparently she's upset about how the Bidens treated Kathleen after Hunter got divorced her to go be with Haley Bowe's wife. I just thought, of all days for that story to come out, it was unbelievable, right? I mean, God, how bad was that? Yeah, and you're saying West Coast is saying Michelle Obama won't campaign for Biden. Yeah, that was in the story. And I couldn't believe they called it out. Number one, number two, that they're calling it out the morning of a debate. This is not the kind of story when you're getting ready for a debate that you want to have to deal with. And you're having to put out fires on your own side. You want to be launching attacks towards the other side, not taking incoming from your own team. Yeah, Sherry's saying Newsom 24. I'm telling you, Gavin Newsom is walking around. I watched, I was streaming it on C-SPAN before the debate, and they had the spin room, and Gavin Newsom is walking around the spin room. And some reporter says, like, what advice do you give a guy? And Gavin Newsom says, how can you give someone that has more experience than anyone else advice? And I actually should be asking him for advice. I mean, it's so over the top. It's unbelievable. I really thought to myself, dude, you're trying too hard. Stop. Anyway, this is, hold on. Barack Obama is running the show and deciding. Okay, Angela, this is interesting. She's saying Barack Obama is running the show and deciding if Joe goes or stay. Listen, I actually think you're onto something there. That is somebody who I don't know. Look, here's what I'll start with. I think Angela's got a point here. If anybody in this Democrat sphere of influence has a say that matters, it's him. Now, the question is, I think if Obama were to step in and say something, he would have to say, and I think it should be X. But here's the problem. You got to remember how much bad blood there is from 2016 when Obama basically gave Biden the Heisman and said, I don't want you to run. It's Hillary's turn because she can beat Trump and you can't. The Biden team has always had a bit of sorry, it's late. I'm just trying to think of the word, but resentment about how they were treated during that process. And I think the idea of them coming in and having Obama try to Bigfoot them again, it wouldn't happen. Daryl, by the way, and I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I got to his question. He said, Sean, I thought it was not supposed to be notes on the podium. Biden had to have a cheat sheet. They were allowed to have a blank piece of paper and a pen on the podium. They couldn't bring in anything, meaning you could take notes while you were at the podium or during a break, but you couldn't bring in the notes or have them in your jacket pocket or something. So my guess is that, as he had a thought, he tried to probably scribble certain statistics or lines down. I don't think it mattered, guys. I mean, to be honest with you, that guy could have brought in an iPad and I'm not sure it would have helped him. Tad saying that Trump would evaporate Newsom. Look, I got to be honest. I think Newsom, I actually get a kick out of a guy who is so pompous for such a failing state, right? They've lost so much. They've got so many issues. Companies are moving out. Businesses are shutting down. And yet he walks around like he's actually doing a great job. I get a kick out of that. Lizette's asking, no audience present tonight. That's correct. No audience tonight. Guys, I said this on the show over and over again. And I don't mean this to my own horn, but I'm going to, because it's late and I can't. These rules benefited Trump. I told you that was going to happen because once he couldn't crosstalk and he knew it, he saved his fire and it benefited him. And I think he allowed Biden to show who Biden was. He didn't get the blame. What's Lindsay Keith doing, Peggy? She's at Merritt Street. I was actually on with her earlier tonight. But anyway, tonight the rules benefited Trump. And I'm telling you, I think it's funny. Again, these guys all think that they're going to take him off the ballot. They're going to prosecute him. They're going to shut his mic down. It never works. It always backfires. And I'm just telling you, that's why I was saying, it wasn't like I'm some kind of genius. It's just that every time they think they're going to outsmart the guy and do something, they're wrong. And Linda, you're right. No audience helped Trump so much. They cannot. They're trying. They literally sit around and say, okay, you know what? That didn't work. But you know what? The next thing we can try to do. Well, we tried the Steele dossier. Then we, buried the laptop. What if we try to kick him off the ballot? Oh shoot, that didn't work. So what if we just go after him with like multiple cases? Oh gosh, that didn't work. What if we mute his mic? What if we get rid of the audience? What if we allow CNN to handle it? They can't outmaneuver the guy. David, you're right. Trump was a machine. Brian saying the moderators did ask Biden. Hold on. Some great questions. They did. I mean, look, I actually think Linda's saying, Sean, I actually thought CNN was fair. I think all things considered, I don't know that I'd say they were fair, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And Joni's saying probably more donations rolling in for President Trump. I guarantee you tonight. And watch this, not even more donations running in for him. Like I think all these people on the fence slowly have been kind of coming off towards him for a variety of reasons. Tonight, I think they said, oh God, we got to get on Team Trump. Now, some of them may not do it for the right reasons. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Right. I mean, but I think tonight people who were on the fence that thought, okay, they want to be on the right side. People want to be with winners. Just a fact. And so I think that that's what's going to happen tonight is that people are going to want to show that they're with a winner. And so I'm just telling you, this is going to be this is going to cause a lot of fun. The only saving grace that is working in Biden's favor is the 4th of July, because we're going to go into this news vacuum where people are going to want to spend time JL saying that CNN commentary afterwards was hysterical. I hope that you share a little of this because obviously I'm with you. I can't see it. It's behind me. And I'm not watching CNN intentionally. I don't want to give them the ratings. But I'm telling you, this is going to be huge. And if I'm Trump, by the way, hold back on announcing that VP. Do not let the narrative change. Just sit back. I would, if I were Trump, I'd go to Camp David for 5 days. Let people freak out. Like, let this happen. Do not change the narrative. I think this was a big problem for Team Trump. Okay, it is just past 11. I want to get up in the morning so I can do the show for you guys. We are going to have a great show. And so again, and by the way, real last quick push. If you haven't seen the Front Row Joe's movie, a couple things, go check it out, salemnow.com. And you're going to want to check. I love doing this movie and producing it. For 2 years, this was a passion project. Go to salemnow.com to see Trump's Front Row Joe's, especially if you've never been. And then the other thing is, I've got a newsletter, SeanSpicer.com. Go sign up for that. We have all sorts of back and forths. This is notify you guys of these live events and poll questions, and then obviously like Q&As and all sorts of stuff. So we'll see you there. But beyond that, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'll see you tomorrow on the show. Have a good night, get some sleep. And guys, the race probably did change tonight. And I'm glad we were all here together to talk about it. Have a good night. I'll talk to you guys soon.